There is a number at which the rules of personal finance quietly change. Not the number everyone talks about, not the first 100,000, the first milestone with compounding on your side, or the number a retirement calculator projects. Those are meaningful, but the number where the game actually changes is $750,000. And almost nobody warns you what changes at exactly this level, which is why so many people who reach it end up leaving most of it behind. Here is what is different at $750,000. At $100,000, with a 7% annual return, your portfolio generates $7,000 a year in growth. Your own contributions, say $12,000, $15,000, even $20,000 a year, still do most of the work. You are the primary driver of your own wealth accumulation. The portfolio is helping, but you are the engine. At $750,000, the math inverts. 7% now generates $52,000 in a year. For most working Americans, that is close to the national median household income produced entirely by the portfolio, without a single additional contribution. The portfolio has become the engine. You have become the fuel. And that inversion changes what your primary job actually is. This is problem one, the scale shift. Every percentage point at this level is not a number on a spreadsheet. It is a week of someone's life. A 10% market drawdown, the kind that historically occurs roughly once every 2 to 3 years, does not cost a $750,000 portfolio $500 in coffee savings. It costs $75,000. That number does not get recovered by working harder or skipping a vacation. It recovers over years of market patience, and only if you do not make the mistake worse by acting on it. At $50,000 in net worth, a 20% error is $10,000. Painful, but survivable in a year. At $750,000, a 20% error is $150,000. That is a decade of maximum IRA contributions erased in a single bad quarter of decision-making. The cost of being wrong scales with the number. The cost of doing nothing, on the other hand, scales in your favor. This is problem two, the hidden drain. Most people who reach $750,000 have spent 15 or 20 years accumulating accounts across multiple institutions. A 401k from a job they left in their 30s. An individual retirement account they opened on a whim. A managed brokerage account opened years ago and rarely reviewed. Each of those accounts carries an ongoing cost. Most holders have never audited what those costs actually total. A 1% advisory fee sounds like rounding error. On $750,000, it is $7,500 per year, extracted whether markets rise or fall. But the actual cost is not the fee in year one. It is the compounding of that fee over time. A dollar paying a 1% fee earns 6% net instead of 7%. Over 20 years, starting at $750,000, with no additional contributions, the difference between a 1% fee structure and a fund charging 0.05% is the difference between approximately $2.9 million and $2.4 million. $500,000. Not from bad investment choices, from paperwork that nobody ever bothered to read carefully. The audit takes one afternoon, most people never schedule it. This is problem three, the behavioral tax. When a portfolio number crosses into genuinely significant territory, something shifts in the human brain. The number becomes an identity, not an account balance. And once something is an identity, the brain starts managing it the way it manages its reputation, reactively, defensively, and always one headline away from a bad decision. The Federal Reserve's survey of consumer finances and several decades of fund flow research consistently document the same gap. Equity markets have returned roughly 10% annually over the past 40 years. The average investor in those same markets has captured closer to 6 or 7. The gap between market return and investor return is not explained by bad fund selection. It is explained by buying after rallies and selling during corrections, doing something on purpose at exactly the wrong time. The instinct to act, to move, to protect, to rebalance in the middle of a crash is not a sign of sophistication at $750,000. It is the most expensive habit in the portfolio. The investors who compound reliably from this number are rarely the most sophisticated. They are the most automated. They set contributions to fire before they see the money. They review accounts quarterly, not daily. They have a written investment policy statement that tells them in advance what they will do when the market drops 20%. Not what they hope they will do, what they will actually do. For most of them, the answer is nothing. At 750,000, your primary job is no longer accumulation. The portfolio earns more in a year than most households save. Your job is to not subtract from that compounding, not through lifestyle expansion, not through unnecessary fees, and not through the expensive reflex of action when patience would serve you far better. The people who leave 750,000 behind do not usually lose it in a crash. They pay it out in fees they never audited, give it away in behavioral mistakes during corrections, and quietly spend their way back toward comfortable obscurity one reasonable upgrade at a time. The people who keep it and compound it past $1 million, past 2, are not brilliant. They are boring in exactly the right places. They read their statements, they minimize their costs, and when their instincts tell them to do something clever with the money, they wait. Understanding money is your best defense.